What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and taking and doing a Heraldic Beast deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck just got some insane support out of Alliance Insight that takes this deck to a whole new level. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can come part of the notification squad, and definitely check the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's go and get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of Griffin. Griffin is definitely a 3-of in the build and such a powerful card in this deck, as this card has the ability that you can actually send a Heraldic Beast monster from your deck to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand, which is a great ability to send your copy of Leo to the graveyard to instantly bring this card out to your side of the field. This card also has the ability it can be treated as 2 materials for the XZ summon of a number XZ monster that requires 3 or more materials to be able to summon it, which is a great ability to be able to summon out our copy of number 69 using Griffin. We then played 3 copies of Whale. Whale is definitely a 3-of in the build for the pure build, and this card is an awesome fact that if this card is normal or special summon, you can actually discard a card to add 2 Heraldic spell or trap cards from your deck to your hand. And also banish this card from the graveyard and then target 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in your graveyard with the same name and special summon them in defense position. We then played 3 copies of Leo. Leo is definitely a 3-of in the build and an awesome card to be able to send to the graveyard off your copy of Griffin, as this card is the ability when this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to add a Heraldic Beast monster from your deck to your hand, which is a great ability to grab the exact card that you need. We then played 3 copies of Ampispania. This card is really good as a 3-of extender in the deck, because this card has the ability to discard one other Heraldic Beast monster to special summon this card from your hand, and once per turn, you can discard a Heraldic Beast monster, and this card gains 800 attack until the end phase. We then played 2 copies of Aberconway. Aberconway is really cool as a 2-of in the deck and helps out a lot in this build, as if this card's in the graveyard, you can manage another copy of this card from the graveyard to target a Heraldic Beast monster in the graveyard and add that target back to your hand, which is a pretty cool effect. We then play a single copy of Unicorn. Unicorn is really good as a 1-of in the build, but you only need a single copy of this card. This card lets you banish this card in the graveyard to target a Psychic type XZ monster in your graveyard and special summon it, and its effects are negated, but it's great to instantly bring out the exact card you need back from the grave. We then play a single copy of Twin-Headed Eagle. Twin-Headed Eagle is great as a 1-of in the build and just helps a lot in this deck. You manage this card in the graveyard, target a face-up XZ monster control with no XZ materials and 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in your graveyard, and attach those monsters from your graveyard to that face-up XZ monster as XZ materials, just refreshing your XZ monsters. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is definitely a 3-of in the build, just to stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Fluros. Fluros is great in this build as a 3-of to basically just dig into the deck for the exact cards that you need. We then also play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is great just to stop your opponent's monster effects. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is great as a 1-of in the build to basically just use this card to stop your opponent's hand traps. We're playing a single copy of Cross-Out Designator. Cross-Out Designator is great to also stop your opponent's hand traps in this build. We're playing a single copy of Triple Tactics Talent. Triple Tactics Talent is awesome as a 1-of just to help us draw 2 cards, take control of an opponent's monster, or look at our opponent's hand and choose a card from it and shuffle it into the deck. We then play a single copy of Heraldry Reborn. This card is awesome as a 1-of in the build, but you only need a single copy of this card. This card actually lets you target a Heraldic Beast monster in the graveyard and special summon it. We then play 2 copies of Advanced Heraldry Art. This card is really cool as a 2-of in the build and helps out a lot in this deck to let you target 2 Heraldic Beast monsters in your graveyard and special summon both those targets, and immediately after the effect resolves, you get to XZ summon an XZ monster using those 2 monsters only, which is a great effect to help you bring back your monsters to your side of the field while also helping you go in for an XZ summon. We then played 2 copies of Flash of Heraldry. This card is very interesting as a 2-of in the build and helps us board wipe. With the ability you can target any number of face-up monsters your opponent controls, and those monsters' names become unknown, which is a crazy powerful effect to be able to use with our copy of Dark Matter Demolition. And this card also has the ability, during your end phase, if you control a Psychic XZ monster and this card's in the graveyard, you can set this card but banish it when it leaves the field, which is a great effect to be able to use their copy of our Dark Matter Demolition, our awesome new XZ. We then play 3 copies of Charged Up Heraldry. This card is great as a 3-of build, letting you tribute a monster to special summon 2 Heraldic Beast monsters from your deck in defensive, and also you cannot special summon monsters from the extract for the rest of the turn after this card resolves, except Psychic or Machine monsters, which is totally fine and very easy to play around in this deck. So, that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to start with a single copy of Full Armored XZ. Full Armored XZ is great as a 1-of in the build because we do play the Armored XZ package in the extract, so this card helps us summon out our copy of Dark Knight Lancer. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Infinite Impermanence is great as a 3-of in the build to basically just use this card to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get in to the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start off with our new number 69 Heraldic Crest Dark Matter Demolition. And definitely give us a like for the quarter century version of this card. This card is so cool in this deck as it has the ability cannot be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and also once per turn, quick effect, you can detach material from this card to target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and that monster's name becomes unknown. And you negate any unknown effects activated by your opponent, which is a very cool effect that basically any monster on the field that doesn't know its name and it's unknown loses its ability, which is so cool and it's awesome to be able to do. We then play a single copy of Shatterstream. Shatterstream is great as a 1-of, as it makes it super easy to summon Dark Matter Demolition. This card is the ability you can also XZ summon this card using the original number 69, which is great to instantly bring it out to your side of the field, transferring all of its materials to this card. Also, when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field or your opponent's monster declares an attack, quick effect, you can actually special summon from your extract 1 copy of Dark Matter Demolition using this face-up card you control as a material, then destroy that opponent's monster, which is a great effect to be able to use. We like a single copy of the original Heraldry Crest. Use this card as a 1-of in the build, so you can basically step into your copy of Dark Matter Demolition, and it's just a really good 1-of in the build to help you use as a stepping stone to go for Shatterstream and then Dark Matter Demolition. We then play 2 copies of Heraldry Patriarch. This card is really good as a 2-of in the build and just an awesome card overall in this deck to be able to use as a combo piece, and it's great in this build as a 2-of. We then play a single copy of Genome Heritage. Genome Heritage is great as a 1-of in the build because once per turn, you can target a face-up XZ monster that your opponent controls, and this card's name and original attack becomes that monster's name and current attack points, and this card's effect becomes that monster's original effect, then that monster's attack becomes 0, and its effects are negated. And these changes last until the end phase, which is a very interesting effect to be able to use to basically just copy your opponent's monster's effect and attack points, which is very interesting as a lot of players are actually playing cards like Typhon, which is very, very cool. We then play 2 copies of Vindiresh. Vindiresh is really good as a 2-of in this build and very interesting in this deck because this card is the ability you can actually detach a material from this card and then target a level or rank 4 psychic monster in your graveyard except in the copy of this card and special summon it, helping you bring back a monster to your side of the field. Also, if a monster is special summoned while this card is in the monster zone, you can actually target one other face-up monster on the field, and that monster's name becomes this card's name, which is a very cool ability to be able to use. But this card is very good as a 2-of in the build, just to use as a combo piece. with my single copy of Time Thief Redoer. Time Thief Redoer is awesome in this deck as a 1-0 because it is a psychic XZ monster and has some really cool abilities depending on the type of monsters, spell, or traps that you actually have attached to this card, which is very interesting about this card. With my single copy of Bagooska, Bagooska is great as a 1-0 in the build to basically just use this card to slow down the game just in case you need to. My single copy of XZ Armor Fortress. XZ Armor Fortress is great in this build to be able to use as a 1-0 because this card helps out a lot in this deck to help you instantly get to your copy of your XZ Armor Trap. With my single copy of Dark Knight Lancer, Dark Knight Lancer is awesome in this build as a 1-0 just to be able to summon off your Armored XZ Trap as a good option in this deck. With my single copy of Double A Zeus. Double A Zeus is awesome in this build as a 1-0, just to always board wipe the field just in case we need to. And it's just an awesome card overall in this build, just in case we need it. Finally, play a single copy of Gravity Controller. Gravity Controller is great in this deck to basically make your copy of number 18 in the extra monster zone and then link it away so it's in the graveyard because it has an awesome graveyard effect that we can actually use. So this card is very good to be able to use their copy of number 18 just so we can get it in the graveyard. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played a Heraldic Beast deck before, you should definitely give this deck a try, especially with all the new amazing support. And I really like playing this deck pure. You can play it with Ryzeal, which is very interesting and extremely powerful, but I really wanted to build a pure version for you guys. And it's just such a fun deck to be able to play, especially since we pulled the quarter century rare. So that's gonna do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can come per notification squad, and see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.